Hi, I'm Phil with SEI Marine Products. Today we're going to be showing you how to change your shift cable on your MerCruiser Alpha Sterndrive. We will be using an SEI shift cable kit, which includes the shift cable and shift cable accessories, which is available on shopsei.net. The first step of the shift cable installation is going to be to remove the Sterndrive. Shift the boat into neutral in order to take the pressure off of the shift assist. And now we remove the shift assist. First, there's a nut on the back side, as well as the cotter pin on the front side. We're going to go ahead and pull this pin, take off the shift assist, set it aside, and then we're going to slide off the upper cable and set that aside as well. Now we're going to remove the lower shift cable, and we will just take off the nut on the front side and the cotter pin on the back side. I'm going to go ahead and remove the cable. Now that we have the shift cables removed from the bracket, we want to remove the shift cable end. To do that, we're going to have to first remove these two set screws. And we're going to want to pull the shift end off at this point. Next, we will want to loosen the jam nut and remove the threaded shaft. At this point, we can pull the core out from the transom side. Okay, now we're going to remove the shift cable, and to do that we're going to have to use the special tool, the shift cable removal tool, which is available at shopsei.net. So we'll go ahead and pull this out. Now we are going to use a wire that is going to act as a snake. It's going to follow through the cable up to the bracket, and we're going to tie it up there, and what we will do is pull the cable out over top of this cable, and it'll leave a guide for us to install the new shift cable jacket. We turn the steering to the left in order to get to the shift bellow. So the next step is going to be removing the clamp on the shift bellow. Okay, now that we have the clamp off of the shift bellow, we're going to remove the shift cable jacket through using this wire as the guide. Now we've tied it off at the engine in order to maintain that guide for reinstallation of the shift cable jacket. So we're going to hold on to the shift bellow in order to support it and also prevent it from getting damaged as we're sliding the jacket through. The next step will be to install the new shift cable jacket. We're going to be using our existing snake with that wire that we fed up through the route of the shift cable all the way up to the engine where we tied it off. So the first thing we want to do is grease the end of the shift cable jacket here to make sure that it goes through the boot smoothly without any rips or tears. And we're going to go ahead and feed this through, and we want to support the shift bellows as it goes into it. Now that we have the shift cable sleeve installed and routed up to the shift bracket, we're going to apply Perfect Seal onto the threads, and we'll just support the shift bellow as we're pushing it in that final little bit to start the threads. And we will go back to our special tool The next step will be installing the zip tie onto the shift bellow. And this will be replacing the original crimping clamp. Now the next thing we want to do is install the shift slide onto the shift inner core. To do that, we will first take the shift cable and we will run it through the shift slide into the end with the threads, like so. Then we'll take the set screw that comes in the kit, we'll thread that in, and as you'll see there's a hole in the middle of the set screw. We'll thread this all the way in, come back a half a turn, and at that point we're going to take the retaining wire and we're going to wrap it through the set screw and around the stud here. As you can see here, this would be the proper way to install the safety wire. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and install the inner core into the shift jacket. Now we just want to grease the shift lever roller. And we're ready to move up to the boat to attach the shift cable end. All right, we're going to go ahead and put the shift cable sheath onto the cable. And we're going to slide it down into position. And that's going to protect where it rubs against the exhaust. Now we're going to route it around the Y pipe and back into the position where it meets the bracket. Okay, so to put the cable end back into place, we're going to first slide the threaded piece into the outer core. We're going to want to thread it all the way in. And at that point, we're going to lock the jam nut down. Then we're going to take our cable end guide, install the core wire retainer. And you got to make sure to line up the hole to receive the core as we slide it down. And I have one of the set screws already there to help me line it up. Now we have the inner core through the retainer, and as you can see through the inspection hole, you can verify that the core has come through. So we're ready to lock down the set screws. While pushing the shift cable in, we want to make sure the prop is locking in the counterclockwise position to make sure that it's locked into gear. While pushing the shift cable in the forward position, we're going to measure 6 inches from the center of the barrel to the center of the hole. So with the tape measure, we're going to start from the 1 inch mark and we're going to go to the 7 inch mark to get our 6 inches. So it looks like we have exactly 6 inches. Now, if you didn't have the 6 inches, to adjust for this, you will rotate the barrel either way to get the 6 inches while it's pushed. Next, we're going to lock down the lower shift cable, being that we have our 6 inches, but first we want to check the mounting stud here to make sure it's fully down in the slot. So as you can see here, it is down all the way down the slot. If it wasn't, you'd have to adjust, you'd have to loosen the nut and adjust it downward. So we're going to go ahead and grab the cable and lock it down. So we'll just take the cotter pin, install it on the back side, and washer and nut on the front side. Now that the nut is tight, we're going to go ahead and back off 1/4 to 1/2 of turn, as it states in the manual. Lower cable is set, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the top cable. For a standard rotation stern drive, we will put the boat into the forward position at the helm. For counter rotation drives, we'll put the helm in the full reverse position. So now we're going to go ahead and move on to the shift cable, and we're going to put it into the forward position, being that this is a standard rotation drive that we're installing. Now to remove the lost motion, we're going to go ahead and pull the cable just slightly as we're installing it to fit the lower shift cable for those 6 inches that we've already locked down. So now we're going to go ahead and fit this cable to check for the alignment. And we're going to push the lower shift cable to take that slack out there. Now while taking the pin and checking for the alignment while pulling on the top cable and pushing slightly on the lower cable just to remove the slack, we'll check for the pin. And it looks like we're off just by a couple of turns, so we will adjust at the barrel. So now I will tighten the barrel, and it looks like that's it right there. Now we're going to go ahead and remove the top cable, and the barrel needs to be rotated 4 turns away from the cable end guide. And at that point we can go ahead and lock it down. We'll go ahead and grab our shift assist as well. To get everything lined up, we're going to need to put the boat into neutral. And in doing so, we'll just have to push the shift assist in while we're sliding the pin through. Reinstall the washer and nut on the back side, and the cotter pin on the front side. Now that we have the shift cables hooked up, we're going to check for proper shift adjustment. Since we're in neutral now, we want to check to make sure that we're not getting any engagement at the prop. So it looks like we're good there. Next, we want to shift the helm into forward for a standard rotation, and for a counter rotation, it'll be reverse. So now that we're in forward position, the prop is locking, so it looks like we're good there as well. The next step will be to go into reverse at the helm for a standard rotation, and for a counter rotation it would be forward. And we're going to go ahead and check to make sure that that locks. Okay, looks like we're good there. Now if you are getting ratcheting at the prop and not getting full engagement, you'll need to go to the shift bracket, and the stud that we put in the lowest position in the slot, you'll have to move that upward until you get a full lock on the prop. I'm Phil with SEI Marine Products. Just want to thank you for watching our shift cable installation video. Please stay tuned for future SEI YouTube videos. Thanks and have a great day.